So, welcome, Coach Logan.
So Logan, or Coach Logan, or Mr. Logan, tell us about what brought you to Reno High.
Well, it's actually funny how things happen. Long story short, last school year I was in my hometown in my alma mater teaching and coaching and running a nonprofit. I was blessed to get a call from something called Your Call Football, where it was the first time ever where fans would call all the plays. And I went to that. I had a legendary O-line coach to work with named Bill Myers, who was actually be able to see this weekend at Stanford. And from there, I was signed after 2 weeks to something called the Alliance of American Football, which goes back to like what I tell my players all the time, the process over the product. I was in, historically the worst place for African American people to live in, one of the most segregated school systems in North America, but was still able to make this dream come true by just being faithful over a few, as I would say. So I do that. We play Johnny football. Johnny Manziel comes to our team in Memphis. It's amazing. We play together, have a great time, winning overtime. Then the next week we get fired on our day off, like it's Friday. But after that, I get a call on my way home from Coach Haskins. He's taking the job here. He won the offensive line coach. And I've been training offensive linemen for probably about 4 or 5 years now. And just being able to use my situations I've been through and experiences to help out the next generation is what been my motivation for it. So it worked out perfect.
We're glad to have you here. So, how are you enjoying being a Husky?
Oh, it's awesome. And I think one of the things that's really nice, too, about Reno is just how historic the school is. 19 state championships. It reminds me of Michigan when you sit back and look at it, with just the history that's been placed there. And with our guys now, we have players that want to be coached, guys like you and your brother that go all out. You know what I mean? Like, if you haven't seen him, highlights coming soon, taking over 99 2000s. But anyway, I think it's very fun to be able to coach at a place like this with the history where people want to be good and want to be elite.
So Logan, I hear that you're a reader. What would you say your favorite book of all time is?
That's a really hard one, but I would have to say the autobiography of Malcolm X, The Blind Side by Michael Lewis, and The View from the O-Line by Howard Mudd would be the ones that stick out in my head. And one point that I want to make to like anybody that will happen to see this too is that to be considered a reader, you already are. Like, even if you don't claim that title, you are. And when it comes to, books and stuff like that, if I have a really good book, like, for example, Black Privilege by Charlemagne that we just got, I'm probably going to take 3 months to read this. Because how I see it is that it's okay to get a whole book and kill it and get all the information, but I like to kind of, take it slow and try to apply certain things to my everyday.
How about your favorite book when you were growing up?
Favorite book, Why Do Mosquitoes Whisper in People's Ear? And it's not because of just the story, it's because of the time that I heard that, and I had an aunt that always read it to me. It is really that time. And more so, what I want everyone to understand too when it comes to reading, find your personal flavor. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's interesting to me is not going to be interesting to you or someone else. You know what I mean? Find what your niche is, and then that'll make reading easier.
Yeah. The sentimental value of a book can go a long way.
Yeah.
So what about a book that you think everyone should read?
A book that I believe everyone should read is Who My Cheese, The View from the O-Line by Howard Mudd. And just because that book is so transformative when it comes to just the human experience of chasing something and it being so unlikely in so many people's eyes, but you having the belief that it can and will and must. So I think The View from the O-Line is one of the most inspiring ones I've read.
What are you currently reading right now?
What I'm currently reading, Shook One by Charlemagne the God, Black Privilege by Charlemagne the God. About to start these. So these are what I will currently be reading.
So Logan, why do you think reading is important, and why do you make it such a priority in your life?
I think reading is important just because it gives you an escape from your everyday. Whatever your routine that you have, if you were able to pick up a book and get involved in a story, it takes you outside of yourself a little bit. And I think when it comes to motivation, it's kind of like a car battery, you know what I mean? If you don't have it, it's not going nowhere, And I think whatever people can do to personally find something that, just ignites whatever interest they have is why reading is important, And also, too, and I was in network marketing business in grad school and that did really well. And one of the things that one of my mentors said to me is that I read 3 books a week. What advantage do you have over me? And I didn't, so it was just one of those things that was very interesting.
Yeah. I hear you're starting a book club. What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, the Huskies Reading Club. The reason why we're really starting that is to give everybody a safe space to come and have a conversation and talk about a lot of concepts. A lot of times people claim that they're here for conversation, but there's not a space where you're open to be able to be here to get information and then relay what you believe about it, in a safe way, And what I mean by safe is just unbiasedly, without being judged. So the Huskies Reading Club is really just a safe space for us all to come and to bring different ideas from different walks of life and have a discussion about it and have a good time.
Yeah, that's great. I'll be there.
Sweet.
When is it going to meet?
It's going to meet every second and fourth Wednesday. First name, last name, taking over 99-2000. Bam. Bam.
Logan, I'm not going to lie to you. I was feeling a little scared when I came in here, but I think I'm going to play football next year.
You heard it here. Got a new one. Got a new Husky coming. Do not be scared. The X Factor alert should be up and waiting and ready.
Starting quarterback.
You don't even know it. Maybe even put a different position. We ain't going to tell you all that yet. Just not yet. Just got to wait.
So before you go, Logan, we heard you have a podcast. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's called the Fair's Never Final Podcast. In my opinion, we only become who we are once we go through some adversity. In my opinion, all things that we go through make us who we need to become to be who we need to be for the people that depend on us. In my opinion, I have a lot of people in my family who really look to me as the inspiration, that light. And so the podcast is just a way for me to share my ideas, my thoughts. Currently on there, I have a few of the sets I did when I went to talk at, the Illinois Department of Corrections and back in my hometown. And a few other events too. But the biggest purpose of my podcast is just for the people that feel like they're forgotten. There was a point in time where going through my adversity, I was able to get a certain information that inspired me, and it lit a fire. So really, it's called Fair's Never Final. Check it out on Anchor, Apple Podcast, everything like that. But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for giving us your time, and we appreciate you coming and talking about books with us.
Sweet. Go Huskies.